The 2023 West Ottawa High School Veterans Day Assembly. Today we gather to celebrate the men and women who have proudly served our country and to acknowledge the important sacrifices that they, their families, have made for us. As we begin the ceremony, I would like to please call your attention to the Vietnam Memorial to my left. This memorial has been set up by our local Vietnam War veterans, the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 73, and is in dedication and honor of the 2,661 men and women from the state of Michigan who lost their lives in the Vietnam War. Thank you for sharing this special and important piece of history with us. And now, we are honored to have our local veterans here with us today. So students, staff, and members of our community, please join me in welcoming our honored guests to this Veterans Day Assembly. Please remain. Please remain standing for the presentation of our colors, the Star-Spangled Banner, and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pulse colors. Present. Horse.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous skies, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets that on bursting gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
I pledge allegiance to the flag Thank you. You may be seated.
Detail. Ball face. Let its music resound throughout the nations. Let it celebrate sweet liberty, that is keeping us free and strong. Let freedom ring, and let everyone share its inspiration.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, students, teachers, and honored guests. Thank you, West Ottawa Band and Choir, for that beautiful performance. Today we gather to pay tribute to the brave men and women who have served in the U.S. Armed Forces of the United States. Our veterans encompassing the Army, Navy Force, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, National Guard, both active and reserved, and those who served with honorable discharge are the embodiment of unwavering dedication. They took an oath to defend our country and protect our Constitution at any cost, a promise that goes beyond our comprehension. Along with the gift of freedom, veterans offer us an invaluable lessons that extend far beyond their military service. They provide us with a profound understanding of sacrifice, dedication, and resilience. Their experiences often showcase the importance of teamwork, leadership, and adaptability in the face of adversity. Veterans' commitment to a greater cause, their ability to overcome challenges, and their unwavering loyalty to their comrades teach us about the enduring values of honor, duty, and selflessness. Unlike many, I have been blessed to have two great men in my life who served their country well and provided me with examples of these lessons. As I shared last year, my father served in the Vietnam War and 4 years ago sadly passed away due to the effects of Agent Orange. Over the years, as I have heard the stories from many Vietnam veterans, it deeply saddens me that this special group was never treated with the respect they deserved and properly welcomed home. At this time, let us take a moment to honor all those who served in the Vietnam War. Thank you for your service, and we are grateful for the sacrifices you made. Please stand. Another great man in my life who served his country is my biological father. He served in the Persian Gulf War on the USS Nimitz and USS Pledge. He continues to be dedicated to serving and protecting his family and friends. We must remember that our veterans are not just names on memorial or statistics in history books. They are our friends, our neighbors, and our family members. They are the embodiment of the values that make our country great. Their stories are the stories of America, and they serve as a source of inspiration for all of us. By listening to veteran stories and experiences, we gain a deeper appreciation for the sacrifices made in the name of freedom and a greater respect for the enduring strength of the human spirit. I am grateful for the opportunity to celebrate my fathers and remember their stories and the lessons they have taught me. I am delighted to call them my heroes. It is now my honor to recognize all veterans this morning. Veterans, when I read your names, please stand and remain standing. And audience, please hold your applause until all of the veterans' names have been read. Linda Bear, Army. Emily Bremer, U.S. Navy. Dennis Joseph Bull, Army. Larry Brewer, Air Force and Army. Isaiah Garcia, United States Marine Corps. Fred Gall, Army. Bobby Gibson, Army. Faith Gibson, Army. Tom Goosen, Army. R. Scott Gugino, U.S. Navy. Lee Harris, Army. Kevin Hawkins, U.S. Navy. Yuli Erlweimer, U.S. Navy. Cameron Hurlrich, Marine Corps. Tom Hinderick, Army. Eric Holt, Navy. Herbert Clean, PVC. Ryan Klingman, United States Marine Corps. Ashley Klipheis, U.S. Navy, Seabeam. Danny Miller, Navy. Josh Miller, Navy. Del Makma, Army. Stephen Makma, Army. Eli Paquette, Coast Guard. Michael Pokorski, U.S. Army. Robert Prenz, Army. Eric Rasmussen, Army. Roger Simpson, Army. Bill Stahauer, Army. Ben Terpstra, U.S. Marine Corps and Army National Guard. Nathan Townsend, Air Force. Fred Troust, Army. Robert Van Dyke, Navy Seabees. Stephen Van Dyke, Army. Dan Voss, Navy. Keith Watkin, Army. Kenneth Winey, Navy. Jim Zorner, Army. As we gather here today, let us not only express our gratitude, but also recommit ourselves to supporting our veterans. Let us ensure they have access to healthcare, education, and the opportunities they deserve. Let us welcome them back into civilian life with open arms and open hearts, acknowledging the skills and experiences they bring to our communities. West Ottawa High School, please join me in thanking the veterans gathered here today for their service to their country. In closing, Veterans Day is not just a day of remembrance. It is a day of celebration. It's a day to celebrate the bravery, the dedication, and the sacrifices of those who have served. It is a day to celebrate the enduring spirit of our nation and the values we hold dear. So let us remember, honor, and celebrate our veterans not just today, but every day. For they are the true heroes who have shaped and defended the land of the free and the home of the brave. Thank you to all our veterans, past and present, for your service and your sacrifice. May we never forget your contributions to our nation, and may we continue to stand by your side as you have always stood by ours. Thank you.
We have gathered here today to observe Veterans Day and to honor the brave men and women who have fought to maintain peace and freedom for all others. Beginning with the War of 1812, nearly 40 million people have been called to serve in our nation's military during times of war. The 16 million who have served in World War II were an average of 26 years old, and 2/3 of those people were drafted. The 8.7 million who served in Vietnam were an average age of 22. That is just a few years older than many of us here today. 2/3 of those men willingly risked their lives and volunteered. 70% of those who died were volunteers. Currently, there's approximately 1.3 million active military personnel and 16.5 million veterans living in the United States today. Nearly every one of us here today knows someone who is serving or is serving in our country in a branch of the armed forces. Here today to remind us of the importance of Veterans Day is West Ottawa student Emily Voss.
Growing up, my cousin and I were super close. We're 7 weeks apart in age and have spent every summer together since I can remember. Her dad served in the U.S. Navy for almost 26 years, and I spent my summers living on base with my aunt, uncle, and cousin. My childhood spent on base opened my eyes and my life to military service. I remember when my uncle was stationed at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. My cousin and I were about 8 at the time. We spent our days on base swimming, hanging out with other kids, and going to base barbecues with other military families. Every evening at 5 o'clock, the national anthem comes blaring over the speakers throughout the base. My cousin and I were playing outside when the time rolled around one evening. As we heard the sound of the trumpets, we raced to the top of the slide on the play set in the backyard, placing our hands on our hearts. Standing on the slide in that moment, I knew I was a patriot at heart. Being surrounded by the military environment all my life had always felt like I was a part of a family. I made friends with other kids on bases. I attended multiple events and gatherings. There was always a sense of patriotism in the air during my summers that was shared by the base community. It was like a second home to me, and I'll forever hold those memories in my heart. In June of 2021, I attended my uncle's retirement ceremony from the Navy. Seeing how well respected he was as Master Chief made my own feelings of respect for our military and for our veterans grow stronger. It was in that church on the McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey during the ceremony that I felt a calling to serve and defend my country. I've considered all of my possibilities following graduation, but I've never felt more secure in my decision to enlist in the United States Navy straight out of high school. I have dreams of enlisting because I want to give back. Give back to America, give back to those who gave their lives for our country. Every day, I look forward to shipping off to Great Lakes for basic training to begin my time as a sailor. All my life, I've had nothing but respect and admiration for our veterans. They've put their lives on the line for our freedoms. They've sacrificed time and time again for the United States of America. They carry the weight of what they've endured selflessly. Our veterans are who inspired me to receive the calling of serving our nation. I want to thank those who've served, are currently serving, and have dreams of serving for your service. Being a part of America's armed forces isn't just a job, it's a passion. So once again, to America's veterans, thank you for your service. We owe you a lifetime of gratitude.
We gather here today to commemorate and to honor all those living and dead for their sacrifices in preserving peace, liberty, and justice. Helping us pay tribute to our West Ottawa veterans are 9 current West Ottawa seniors. Following each tribute, there will be a moment of silence. Please hold all applause. Today we honor Daniel M. Arizmendez, a member of the class of 1965. Daniel was the son of Carlos and Linda Arizmendez, and the brother of Rebecca, Carmen, and Larry. While at West Ottawa High School, Dan played football, ran track, and became president of the Knights Club, an organization that raised money to aid in school activities. Many remember Dan as a gifted artist. Dan was also very well liked and admired by his peers. When Dan turned 18, he immediately joined the Marines and was sent to Vietnam to fight. Dan encountered no problems during his first tour of duty and could have come home to stay. Instead, he chose to return to Vietnam to fight in his second tour of duty. Marine Corporal Daniel M. Arizmendez died in the vicinity of Quang Nam on May 29, 1968, while serving his country. He was 22 years old.
Today we honor Robert J. Westray, a member of the class of 1966. He was the son of Chester and Nellie Westray, and the second oldest of 6 children. While in high school, Robert participated in intramural sports, the Future Farmers of America Club, his sophomore, junior, and senior years. Robert attended North Holland Reformed Church and was president of his youth group. He was a quiet, well-liked individual with a ready smile. Robert enlisted in the Army as an engineer in February of 1967, and his courage earned him the Purple Heart when he was wounded in action in December of that same year. 6 months later, Army Specialist 4th Class Robert J. Westray died in Vietnam on June 7, 1968, while serving his country. He was 19 years old.
Today we honor Terry Robert Meyer, a member of the class of 1965. He was the son of Mr. and Mrs. Robert V. Meyer of Holland and had 2 brothers, Jeff and Mark, and a sister, Susan. Terry was very athletic throughout high school, playing football for 1 year, basketball and baseball for 4 years, and running cross country for 3. Terry had high goals for himself. He was a hard worker. His ability in athletics illustrates this, and he was very determined. He was never in the spotlight, but he enjoyed being a member of the team. After high school, Terry Meyer joined the Army and served with the 1st Infantry Division. Sergeant Terry Robert Meyer died near Dien, Vietnam, on August 13, 1968, while serving his country. He was 21 years old.
Today we honor Robert Edwin Knoll, a member of the class of 1965. He was the son of Bernard and Lois Knoll and brother to sisters Jennifer, Margie, and Valerie. Bob was extremely people-oriented. His friends said he had a good sense of humor and a kind heart. Bob was also intelligent, which was one of the reasons why people chose to follow him. These qualities made Bob a good soldier. Bob was drafted into the Army in 1967. On a required military test, Bob earned the highest score ever to come out of the Detroit testing area. Because he did so well, he was offered the opportunity to enter flight school, which would require further training. But he chose to go to Vietnam to be with his buddies. Sergeant Knoll's quick actions, successful leadership earned him the Bronze Star Medal for heroism. He was commended for his exceptional courage, professional skill, and exemplary devotion to duty. Army Sergeant Robert Edwin Knoll died in Vietnam on September 27th of 1968 while serving his country. He was 20 years old.
Today we honor Robert Ray Buskell, a member of the class of 1969. He was the son of Mr. and Mrs. Ray Buskell and brother to Betty. As a student, Robert was involved in many extracurricular activities, which included Spanish club, choir, football, and baseball. Outside of school, his other personal interests were bowling, working on cars, playing in a band. He enjoyed the outdoors and participated in scouting and many outdoor sports, such as hunting, archery, and fishing. He was also active in Rose Park Reformed Church. After high school, Robert joined the United States Army and was assigned to Vietnam. He left Holland on May 11, 1970, and was in South Vietnam for only 22 days. Private First Class Robert Ray Buscal died in South Vietnam on June 6, 1970. While serving his country, he was 19 years old.
Today we honor Stephen Brink, a member of the class of 1977. During high school, Stephen liked to play football and enjoyed being around others. Stephen was an all-around people person, and his mother says one word to describe Stephen was loving. Stephen had a love for flying. It was his life. He received his private pilot's license at age 16. If he wasn't at school, he was at Park Township Airport, working there as well as learning to fly. After graduating from West Ottawa, Stephen joined the Army and was an airplane mechanic, ranking as corporal. Stephen was stationed at Norfolk, Virginia for 1.5 years. On September 15, 1979, Stephen flew home from his Army base outside Washington, D.C. with his fiancée, Robin Sibley, to surprise his mother for his 20th birthday. On the flight home, the engine of the airplane caught fire, and the plane crashed near Hastings, Michigan. Corporal Stephen J. Brink, his fiancée, Robin Sibley, and 2 others died on September 15, 1979. He was 20 years old.
Today we honor Russell Terry King, a member of the class of 1974. Terry, as he was known, moved to Holland at the age of 2 with his family, which included 8 other children. Terry enjoyed art very much, as painting provided a form of expression for him. Terry's teachers remember him as a talkative and lively person, and as a pleasure to have in class. Terry's friends remember his fun-loving personality and his enjoyment of life. Terry entered the Navy after graduating in 1974 and served as an electrician aboard the USS Stigrin. Prior to this, he had married and had a son, Russell Terry Jr., who later followed in his father's footsteps and joined the Navy. Electronic technician, 2nd class, Russell Terry King died at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba on September 17, 1979, while serving his country. He was 24 years old.
Today we honor Joel Hotchkiss, a member of the class of 1993. Prior to his decision to enlist in the service, Joel had plans to attend Grand Rapids Community College. Those plans were put on hold when he chose to serve his country by enlisting in the Marine Corps. At Camp Pendleton, where he was stationed, north of San Diego, Joel was known as the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company C, because he had an excellent reputation for his music. His rendition of taps could bring tears to one's eyes. Following his years in the service, Joel continued serving his country through the Marine Reserves. Joel also had plans to continue schooling and pursue the study of architecture. He and his best friend Keith had dreamed of starting their own company. However, Joel's dreams were left to be fulfilled by others in December of 1994. Joel lost his life in an automobile accident. Marine Private First Class Joel E. Hotchkiss died in Pullman, Michigan on December 31st, 1994. He was 20 years old.
Today we honor Andrew C. Seif, a member of the class of 2006. He was the son of Charlotte Nealis and Carl Seif, brother to Emily, Karen, and John, and husband to Dawn Bredeweg Seif, also a West Ottawa graduate. During high school, Andrew attended Marmion Military Academy in Illinois, Catholic Central High School in Grand Rapids, and then finished his senior year at West Ottawa. While in high school, Andrew participated in many different sports, including football and rugby. Kids gravitated to Andrew, and he always made time for people, especially those who didn't fit in. He attracted lost souls, as his mother recalls. He also loved the outdoors, Boy Scouts, and snowboarding. Andrew did not feel that college was the right fit for him, but the military was. He asked his mom to sign his enlistment papers the summer between his junior and senior years of high school, and then came to West Ottawa to finish high school and earn his diploma so that he could join the Marine Corps. Andrew chose the Marines because he felt that they had the reputation of being tough and having rigorous training for their recruits. Andrew loved boot camp, and in the final challenge, a 40-plus mile hike with a 50-pound pack on his back, Andrew was one of the first to finish, and then he went back to help the other guys. Andrew did 1 tour of duty in Iraq and 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. In 2012, while serving in Afghanistan, Andrew put his life on the line to save his teammate, who came under enemy fire. His heroism earned him the Marine of the Year award from the United Service Organization. On March 10, 2015, just 1 week after being awarded the Silver Star for his actions in Afghanistan, Staff Sergeant Andrew Seif died in a helicopter crash during a training exercise off the coast of Florida. He was 26 years old.
With deepest respect and highest tribute, we're now attentive to the call of the roll. The following West Ottawa High School students died while serving their country, defending the freedom we cherish. Daniel Arizmendez, class of 1965. Robert Canal, class of 1965. Terry Robert Meyer, class of 1965. Robert J. Westrate, class of 1966. Robert Ray Buskell, class of 1969. Terry Russell King, class of 1974. Stephen Brink, class of 1977. Joel Hotchkiss, class of 1993. Andrew C. Seif, class of 2006.
Once again, I would like to thank our veterans and guests of honor. Please join me one more time for a round of applause for our veterans. Thank you to the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 73, for allowing us to display the Vietnam Memorial Wall this morning. Please feel free to take a closer look at the memorial and pay tribute on your way out. A special thanks to our student speakers and our high school band and choir. Thank you to Mrs. Cherry, Mr. Yeager, Mrs. Cheney, Ms. Ramirez, Mrs. Kephart, and Mrs. Stanley. They worked hard to put this event together for us today. This year, we will continue the tradition of having our veterans participate in a parade to the middle schools. Veterans, please exit out the doors ahead of you and to the right. Students, please use the doors behind you so that the veterans can exit safely. Thank you again for joining us today on this important occasion, and as always, go well.